That's it. Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Yeah, for kinky wax play.
No. Angie was going to use it for the ritual. According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead,
you gotta do an old-fashioned book burning. And the fact that we still have this book means she did not accomplish her goal. Obviously.
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
That's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab. So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
And that's when the culprit attacked her.
That's why there was dried blood underfloor.
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held. Bravo, Himiko. Well done for choosing that room for the seance.
You got extra lucky.
If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room. If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's bloodstain under the floorboards.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
And thank God we did. Otherwise, we'd be kind of screwed.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie. This must be a Tua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that as fact already. You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab? Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab? It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
I think she was still alive after the attack in the empty room.
You're playing the hard game, Kyo. But we actually do have evidence to prove this.
She was killed after she was carried to her lab.
Yeah. She was attacked twice. In the seance room, she was knocked out. She got a big old bump on her head. I almost picked the wrong thing, Jesus.
This is it! The fatal wound was a cut to the back of her neck from the katana. But she also showed signs of blunt force trauma, and I think I know why. After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow. Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off.
All clear. This is all clear. What are you all talking about? All clear? What is all clear? What are you? All clear? What are you all? You what? What are... I will not fear. I will not back down.
Oh.
Sweet Korekio, calm yourself.
What?
Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them.
Oh. Okay, we're doing this now.
You must teach these ignorant children a lesson.
So that's what he was hiding under the mask.
Yes, you're right. Okay, I'll teach them.
Oh, split personality disorder. Great.
What the hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
You're not the only one.
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all. It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all!
Okay, that's a good break. But I got something to take down your rebuttal. I already know what I'm going to use. Because I have a bad feeling I know how you're going to angle it.
And then carried into the research lab? Impossible! Impossible! That's nothing but a delusion! You intend to poison our minds with your delusions?
It's no delusion. Angie's 2 external wounds tell the story. After she was struck in the empty room, she was carried to the art research lab and then killed.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains.
Oh, what? Oh, crap. Well, he got me there. I jumped the gun. No, there's no blood all over the place. Damn it! I was hoping to get through that without making a mistake. To make you suspicious. Ugh, whatever.
Damn it.
I'm sorry, Kyo. I shouldn't have pegged you for that. Wow, that did a lot of damage.
You say the
Let's
culprit
try
carried
again.
Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains. Even if you wipe them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere, was there, Shuichi?
There we go.
I'll cut through your words.
That's the one I wanted. Damn it.
There was evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape under Angie's body.
What?
It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
A very clever idea to make sure that no blood was in the hallway. And you almost got away with it.
Bloody tape? Gonta didn't notice at all.
You can actually thank Maki for this one. She's the one that was poking and prodding around Angie's dead body.
It was under the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of.
But one fatal mistake. We found it.
But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt, and ended up under her body.
It must have been Atua who did that for us.
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie.
Here we go! The one person who could have killed Angie! And thank God it's the exact same person who killed Tenko. The one person who could have done it. Get fucked, Kyo.
It has to be you! It's you, Kyo. You killed Angie.
What the fuck? So it's true!
Well, that was obvious. Such a boring, obvious answer.
You killed both of them. Why did you kill them?
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
I think one of the murders was an accident.
An accident?
Yeah, I can actually see this too. Oh, Jesus.
That's right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Oh, this means Angie got caught in the crossfire.
Huh? Which one?
I think. It's either that or Tenko was the unlucky bitch who got stuck underneath a cage. The murder that was an accident. Yeah, when he says it like that. An accident. I don't think he meant to kill Angie. Honest.
That's it! Angie's murder was an accident.
What? Tango was an accident?
That's right. Kyo originally planned to kill someone with a seesaw trick.
That's why he kept saying seance, 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 seance. He was going to perform it! Oh my god, Angie!
But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in.
How unfortunate. She's a regular Hiyoko Saionji.
So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
She just happened to walk in on the culprit setting up and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there. Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tanko.
You only needed to kill one for this game. Killing two is pointless. If you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Yeah, I actually don't get this. Why kill both?
Why, Kyo? Why you kill two of our friends?
What on earth are you talking about? No, I'm not the culprit. So, why is everyone looking at me like I am? Why? Why are they? Why is it? Calm yourself, Korekio. Yes. You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter. You mustn't lose composure. You mustn't become flustered. You mustn't waver. Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
Do you want me to make a short list on what's not wrong with him?
It almost seems like he's talking with someone.
Yeah. And he has a visual representation.
Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
Still trying to figure that one out.
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter. I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them. For you see, there is no evidence that I killed Angie. No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery. I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses. Well said. Good job, Korekio. Yes, thanks.
Creeps me the fuck out!
Yeah, same. Oh, yeah, there's evidence.
You're wrong. There is evidence.
Want me to show you?
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
Hell, I'll show your second personality the evidence. You're going down.
The weapon that was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room. That weapon tells us the whole story, Kyo.
It's in my brain, ready to be said, but we're gonna have to do some DDR.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize. 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 Come on. Apologize. 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 Apologize.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
A culprit is breaking. This is the best part of the game. Let's just do the killing blow. Here we go. Ooh.
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. I'm not the culprit, so I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Yes. Why must you force your delusions on us? Your logic? That's merely a delusion. Well said, Correcchio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us? I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. 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 I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Yeah, I do. Remove floorboards.
It ends here!
What the fuck?
Kyo hit Angie with the same floorboard used in the seesaw trick.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Angie's blood?
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard. There's also the bloodstain under the floor to consider. For that to be there,
Oh, now I get ya.
the floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
Kyo's earlier confession is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
How?
If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick,
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw, so the same person killed Tenko and Angie. I believe that while Kyo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with a floorboard.
all you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
What's true? This is the truth.
Looks like we're almost at the end. All right, Shuichi. I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Gladly.
Ichi, please, put an end to this. For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Kyo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
Closing argument time. Here we go. What an awesome case! I mean, this is amazing! Alright, well, what do we got to work with? Remove the gold leaf katana, sickle placed to kill, stuck duct tape, the path made with salt, small stone Himiko brought, the remove floorboard, and hitting the sliding lock. Okay, so a lot of stuff that happened later on. What weapon knocked Angie unconscious? That was the removed floorboard. And do you notice a lot of those will only unlock after 7? They want to make sure you've been paying attention. What was compressing the injury on Angie's head while she was being carried? Oh, the stuck duct tape. Oh, I get it. I think all those pieces... Oh, that's actually kind of clever. Who was the culprit with the saw in the empty room? I don't think we have that one just yet. So they want us to solve Angie's murder first. And then go from there. So, remove the gold leaf katana. Got that. Whose effigy was stabbed with the katana? Okay, that's moving into... Move on. Handle of the katana spinning. I think we're gonna wait on that. When Angie's body was found, who unlocked the door? That would be Kokichi, so we'll wait on that. What did she rest her forehead on during the seance? The small stone. And now I know exactly what this is. Handle of the spinning katana, hit... Where's my cursor? There it is. Hit the sliding lock. What weapon did the culprit set on the iron cage? The sickle place to kill? Hey, I did it! Alright, moving on. Who besides Kokichi was responsible for extinguishing the candles? That was me. How was the culprit able to move around in the darkness during the seance? The salt. And, speaking of salt, Kyo, I need you to calm the fuck down right now. Cut crosspiece under the floor. That's the very beginning. Gotcha. Next. Oh, here we go. Whose effigy was stabbed? Well, let's unlock the rest of the panels. Stomp hard on the floorboard. Footsteps. Extinguish the flames. There we go. Stab my girl's effigy. God, how could you? It's worse than murder. When Angie's body was found, who unlocked the door? I think that's our last panel. Yep. Lockpicking. So, I gotta say, even though the first half of this was kinda long-winded, you know, we have to talk about everything. We gotta talk about 2 separate murders. But the way this all came through... Holy crap! It's amazing! And the fact that we were able to pinpoint this, even more amazing. Time's up, Kyo. Get fucked.
This is the truth of the case! Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room. To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse. They were planning to cut the crosspieces in all 3 rooms. However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened. Angie walked into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations. She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting crosspieces. Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit. The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head. The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise. They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body. Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick. Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her. Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery. First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this. To overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere. And the other was the key to locking the room. The culprit stuck the katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door. Once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it. The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times. Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late. The room was sealed. There was no way for them to get back inside. Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body. But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder. To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance. Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle one was chosen for the seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone. That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage. The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After the preparations were complete, we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Caged Child song. When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan, to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide. They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt. The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along. And when the culprit reached the center of the circle, they found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it. After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles. We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. And while we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room. Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark. However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture. He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle. But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekyo Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.